welcome to the show.
Good morning.
If you had a theme song to start, I could just put it in.
I was literally going to ask you that. I'm like, do we have music? Like,
Yeah.
Is there like a normal
But if you had to
song that
pick
we do?
one.
I had one going on.
Dancing Queen.
No.
Okay.
I was thinking one this morning, but then I totally forgot it. But I was like, ooh,
Cool.
it should totally be a song.
That'll be great. I'll put that in there.
What did you and Aaron use? Some sort of like country song?
Yeah, that's called Trent went and Googled free music that has no rights to it.
Are you eventually going to get a theme song?
Yeah, I'll make one maybe. I don't know. Maybe, you know what I would like it to be, ideally, is like a bunch of clips.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you need like a collected living podcast.
Ooh.
Like where it like scrolls up, you know,
Yeah.
like before. Mm-hmm. We could get
Yeah.
Lori to make that for us.
My favorite intro music is from New Heights, Travis Kelce's podcast.
I got nothing.
Well, anyway, it's kind of dubstep-y, but it's so cool.
Yeah.
And I wish I had it.
You
but-
need some sort of like hype up, like
Exactly. We're
like
such
game
high
day.
energy
Game
people.
day.
Yeah. So, introduce yourself.
Hey. My name is Camryn Stowe.
Oh, recently.
Recently. I am an interior designer here at Collected Living.
Mm-hmm. For how long?
A year and a couple weeks. It doesn't seem like that long.
Yeah. Time
It
flies when you're having
literally
fun.
seems like Abby was just calling me yesterday about like for an interview, and then we were just like, all right, let's do it. And I would say it doesn't seem that long, but like I feel like from the second I was hired to here, like the long way that we've come has just been like insane.
Yeah. I feel like that happens every time I think anything is like, man, has it been a year? But then I think about the actual year and all the things that happened, and I'm
So
like,
much.
oh my gosh. Yeah.
So much.
It's definitely been a year.
Yeah. I'm like, the mistakes I was making, like the first month or two, like I would laugh at somebody who came in now.
Well, we all laughed at you. So, no. Totally fine.
Yeah.
It's hard to anticipate. All of this stuff, like whether it's owning a business, starting a new job, being a parent, being newlyweds, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And then you learn it, and you're like, oh, that was dumb.
Well, you know, some of the stuff you do know, and then you just don't do it.
Well, that's another piece of it. Is sometimes it's just hard to capture everything.
And there's
take it all in.
and there's so many pieces going together that, you know, sometimes when you miss like the smallest things, it ends up being like the biggest thing at the end, and it feels so simple, like then and there. But then when you're getting to the end of the project,
well, it's simple enough that
like,
you don't even think about
right.
missing
It's just
it.
easy, yeah, yeah. So, you know,
So you're newly married.
newly married.
We all went to Texas for your wedding.
You did. We had the best time. My
So
parents
fun.
and literally everybody was just like standing on the sidelines watching you and the
Yeah.
whole team dance while everybody was on the dance floor like by
Yeah,
themselves.
I
You
like
guys
to
pretty
think
much
that's my
started it.
duty, you know, when I go to a wedding.
Yeah,
It's
I don't
just-
know what we would have done if you wouldn't have been at the wedding.
Yeah.
Like the dance floor would have been
That
empty.
really speaks to my soul, so thank you for saying that.
You and Caleb both.
I don't know what we would have done without you. Actually, that's interesting because have you done Enneagram at all? Did we try to diagnose
we
you?
started to
Yeah.
in the beginning.
Anyway, so my mom is 2, which is a helper. And you can sometimes you can identify it by like, what's the thing that like, oh, that makes me feel so valuable, like that phrase. And for a 2, it's, I don't know what we would have done without you. Which I'm not a 2, but I still really like when people say that.
Well, it's like for me yesterday, like we were messaging on Voxer, like the entire team was messaging about Voxer about this new client that we could
Voxer's
potentially
the worst,
get.
but sure.
Right. But you had said like, you know, like Camryn and Abby are like our hype people, like enthusiastic, and that just like fed my soul because that's what I get.
So are you a words of affirmation
Yes.
person?
And did I marry a words of affirmation? No.
Yeah, nobody ever does.
But I am a words of affirmation. I'm also like an acts of service kind of girl. Like if you just go do the dishes when I just don't even like I see them in the dishwasher or see them in the sink, but like I don't have time to do them, but then you just go do them. I'm like,
so is Katie. She's a huge acts of service person more than anything else. But if she has to ask, then it's totally out.
No. Right.
Worthless. Might
That's
as
what I'm
well
saying.
leave them
Before
there.
I ask, if you just see it and you just do it, big time.
So, okay, so you came to us a year ago.
I did.
You've been doing...
Well, I came to Kansas a year ago. I didn't come to Kansas for you until it was like, oh my God, I have to work for them. But I had interviewed, so we got to Kansas, like, we actually, did you know this? Okay, so let me back it up.
Okay.
We came to Kansas like a week before Christmas because of William, my husband's job.
Almost a fiance.
Came for his job, and I have been like a dance director. I do photography, like multiple things outside of interior design as well, but I went to school for interior design. So I love interior design, but I also like 50%, my other 50% like has a passion for dance. So I didn't know like what I wanted to get into at the time. So like off the bat, we like moved here, had like 36 hours to find a rental house. And then our rental house wasn't going to be ready or like available by the time we needed to be here. And Aspen at the time, my puppers, was like just turning 1, and we decided that we had to be here for his job.
So that limits, the dog limits the living situation.
So we had to stay in a hotel.
A dog-friendly hotel.
A dog-friendly hotel for 2.5 weeks.
On what floor of the hotel?
The second floor. We had to use an elevator. And that was also the week, like in between that you guys had like a really bad cold front. Like it was in the negatives. So like I couldn't go out on walks with him because
Let's talk about cold fronts, Camryn.
Listen. I am from Texas, and so is Anna too. We just don't get that. And when we do get that, it may be for 2 days.
But you've like been in snow before.
Yes, but I'm telling you, it's different. It's totally different because in Texas, we do not have the infrastructure, like vehicles, salt, any of that. So when it snows in Texas, it's just like a sheet of ice and nobody's going anywhere. But it also snows in Texas maybe once every 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
So when it does, it's like, oh, dang, and then everything's canceled.
So we got what in your eyes was a monster blizzard.
Yes.
And what in Kansas City's eyes was 4 inches of snow.
4 inches? It was definitely like 8 to 10.
Okay.
Use your measuring stick.
Yeah, I will. We're going to go out here right after this.
But you have to go to like the side of the road where it's been plowed off. Okay. It was a lot. When my whole boot like, goes in, I did lose power.
And what was walk me through that experience for you?
Well,
I was already... Like, how did you notice? The light shut off?
Yeah, we were, yes, I think we were in the kitchen. I don't know what we were doing. I don't know, making food or whatever. And then, the light shut off. And I was like, oh my God. And our house is very old. Like, very old.
Hold on. How old?
Like, I want to say 60s or 70s. Very old.
That is not that old.
Very old.
Lori lives in 100 years.
Either way, they're the original windows. Windows. So, like, the seal is not great. Like, draft on all the doors. Like, it's just very hard to, like, keep our nest running and consistent. And so when that went down, I was like, oh, man. And our neighbor, who we normally talk to and are, like, pretty close with, they have a generator who like runs the whole house, but they're on vacation. Okay. So I would like message them. I'm like, so
like your brain immediately power went out and you were like, call the neighbor.
Yeah, because immediately I was like, okay, they have a generator. Maybe I can call Trent to help us run our gas furnace with the neighbor's generator. Yeah. So that's the first thing that went through my head. And then I feel like I called you and I was like, can I do this? And you're like, yeah, but it's going to take some wiring. And I'm like, all right, I got this. Yeah. So then when we were down, like, and I was like undoing the screws and you're kind of walking me step by step and William was bringing the cord across. And then when you were like, oh, no, you have a plug in. Yeah. It's a literal plug that you can't plug into your gas furnace. That is when I was like, oh, for the love. So it got down to 56, and then the power came back on.
Let me tell you a funny story about my parents. So I got my gas bill for January, and I was like, it's enormous. And I was
Yeah,
like,
'cause
is
you
that a
moved into a new
normal
house, yeah.
amount of gas to use? So I call my mother, I call my sister, like, hey, what's your gas bill?
Yeah.
They live around here. And my sister's was super low, but she's like, our house is just like really efficient, so probably not a great.
Is your house like a little bit newer?
It's 90s probably.
Okay.
So yeah, it's newer.
Mm-hmm.
And I called my mother, and hers was like the same as my sister's, and I'm like, man, like what is wrong? Something's wrong
Do
because
they
I'm
have
like
the same
double.
size house, like square
I
footage?
mean, there's my sister's is close. My mom's
okay.
is a little smaller, but so I'm talking to, but my mom's house is 70s, so like it's older.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, man, something's wrong. So then the next day, which was yesterday, I'm talking to my dad, and I'm like, hey, we have a rental house. I'm trying to, nobody's living there right now, so I'm trying to keep the heat low just to avoid paying a bunch of bills. What's like the lowest I can keep it and not have to worry about like my pipes freezing?
Good question. Yeah.
So I call him and I'm like, I set it down to like 58. Do you think that's okay? And he's like, I mean, we set our thermostat to 57 every night.
What? 57? I'm
Yeah.
one who sleeps in the cold, but 57 is a
Like
whole
I
nother
would
breed.
wake up with icicles coming out of my mouth. Like
I would have
drool.
like down comforter and heated mattress.
I'm just having to imagine like getting out of bed in the morning at that temperature.
Right.
I just
Icy.
wouldn't.
Icy.
Yeah.
And Aspen sleeps like in the room. Like he has a kennel, but we just like leave it open so he can just like roam. Poor puppers.
Yeah.
He would be freezing cold.
Well, my kids sometimes will go to Juju's, that's grandma, for sleepovers. Now I'm like, I need to pack like winter coats for them to sleep
Oh
in.
my God, this is grandmother's house. Yeah. I'm sure she doesn't turn it to 57 when your kids are over there.
Oh,
right?
I guarantee she does.
Those are like babies.
I know. So I'm like, wow,
You know,
better
like those sleep sacks,
yeah,
like for your
include
3-year-old.
like a sleeping bag for them to sleep in under the covers.
In the covers.
Yeah.
That's
So anyway,
funny.
apparently 57 won't burst your pipes because my parents do it every night.
Good to know.
So
Good to know. Every
anyway,
night,
so
57.
now that you've made it through, because you drove to work
For-
today,
I
you're
didn't
out.
say
You're through the snowpocalypse.
I knew this was coming up. I was just like preparing myself.
Looking back, do you
Mm-hmm.
feel in any way like there was a slight overreaction?
Maybe a little bit. But listen, you don't know what you don't know.
We did talk about that.
You don't know what you don't know. And being from Texas, this was like my first, like, this is the most snow I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So, like, not knowing and, like, not getting out, like, I just made the decision, like, going to that meeting isn't risking my biscuits.
Yeah, sure.
Do you know what I mean?
That's such a
It's like-
Texas saying. Okay, so we had, when I was at Mizzou, I don't know why, but we had a ton of Texas kids at Mizzou. Maybe it's just because there's a lot of people
I feel
in
like
Texas.
Mizzou is like a bigger school, a biggish-ish
We had a lot of
school.
journalism, and so a lot of kids from Texas
Yeah.
came for that. Anyway, obviously none of them ever had dealt with snow, and so
Right.
and we had snow. Mm-hmm. In fact, when I was there, we had snowpocalypse where we did get like 16 inches in one day. It was called thunder snow.
And
It's
all those
great.
Texas kids stayed in bed.
Yeah, well, so like they plow the sidewalks, they plow the streets, and then you get the big mounds of snow on the side of the road.
Yep.
And eventually those like melt and refreeze, and so they just turn into like chunks of ice. And so we're walking, my sister, it was actually my sister. She's walking with her roommate who's from Texas, and there's like a little ball of snow, and my sister just like kicks it and it into snow. And then her roommate does that, but it's like a chunk of ice.
Yeah.
Clearly. She can't
She
like
just-
tell the difference.
Yeah.
And just like, bam!
Stubs all over toes.
Yeah. She's like, oh my God. But,
we went
yeah.
outside yesterday and we were like, it's sunny. It's like 36. Let's go do snowballs and snowmen and snow angels like all in our backyard.
How did Aspen
so
feel
fun.
about the snow?
Aspen, like if we let him, he'd be outside all day every day. Like
No matter the weather?
no matter the weather, he just, does zoomies in the yard with the snow and, we throw snowballs and he just like chomps them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would be outside all day, every day. I even texted his breeder. I was like, so what are like the regulations for these dogs? Like, does he need to be in a jacket and boots is he like a husky? And go. It's It's a pup mom
How
thing.
serious
It's
were
a
you
first
about
mom,
putting a
pup mom
coat
thing.
on your
I
normal sized dog?
I literally have a picture of him in a coat. I ordered, so you know, the Canada, like, coats for people that are, like, freaking expensive. You know what I mean? They have one for dogs. So-
Okay, I can understand. Like, I have a very tiny dog.
Yeah.
And I can understand, like, putting a
Yes.
sweater on a tiny dog.
we never use
Because
the
they
Canada
can't
one for the
regulate.
puppers.
But, like, you have a very normal sized dog
Yeah.
that, like,
This is
has
almost golden retriever.
normal size fur. And
So, but again, you just don't know. So I'll take it back. But I did place that order on Amazon on Monday, and it was an expensive Canada pupper jacket that we
Yeah.
never used. But it was just like I just didn't even know.
yeah.
Just be prepared. It's a pup mom thing. I have no kids. This is my only pupper. Yeah,
For now.
only pupper for now. 2 weeks. Counting down the weeks.
And what's your new pupper's name?
Nash.
Nash and Aspen. Walk me through the naming process. Was that a collaborative effort?
Nope. Aspen was always on my list. And when William and I were talking about names, we were like, all right, Aspen is good, but let's keep like coming up with different names. And then we kind of just settled and we kind of love it, but we just couldn't come up with anything like extra great,
Yeah.
you know? And I feel like Aspen's great, but it wasn't like, oh my God, we have to have Aspen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Nash, I don't know who came up with that one. It just kind of, the second we started talking about a dog, we kind of knew that we wanted Nash, but I don't even remember like where it came from because it's not even on my list of like dogs, babies, anything like that.
Wow.
So
Okay.
it's just Nash, Aspen and Nash.
Interesting.
And I was like, do we name them that? Because everybody's going to think it's like places. Technically, those are two of our favorite places, but that's not really what we name them after.
So are you the type of dog mom that's going to put like a sticker on the back of your car? Like,
No.
dog mom.
No. He's the best boy, but no, not a sticker on the back of my car.
Yeah.
No.
And does he get to be on the furniture?
He does.
Does he get to be in the bed?
Yes, but he chooses not to be.
So civilized.
He'll like snuggle with us for like the first 10 minutes and then just like jump down and get in his own bed. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's why it lasted was because.
Well,
I'm
my
gonna
dog, who is a professional terrorist, also we shaved her because she sheds everywhere if we don't shave her. But it's obviously freezing, so she gets on her bed and just lays up right against you and then just shivers.
Like you're keeping me awake.
It's like literally having like a PlayStation controller that's vibrating, just sitting right next to you all night.
So she has a kennel or sleeps
She does not have a kennel.
No.
We had a kennel when she was a puppy.
puppers.
And she would literally whine for hours until we let her out.
Then how long did you like kennel train? Was it a very long
We
time?
tried for like maybe 2 weeks.
All right, that's a good enough time for me to be like, nix that.
And we were like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Did you get her from a rescue or a breeder?
We
or-
got her from, I guess, is it called a rescue?
Shelter?
It was
I
like,
don't know. You find her on the side of the road?
no, we didn't find her. We paid
Dog
for
distribution?
her, but it wasn't like a breeder.
Yeah.
She was just like a mixed.
Yeah. Oh, so the
Breed.
one that you find in the back of the truck in the Walmart parking lot?
Yeah, it wasn't that bad, but it was like a strip mall.
Yeah. So
they had posted on like Craigslist or something like puppies.
Yeah.
And we went to see him. I wanted a dog really bad.
Yeah.
Katie was not convinced, but then you see him and she was like 2.5 pounds.
Ooh.
She was tiny.
So little.
Anyway, so yeah, she whined after like an hour when you're in bed and you just hear you're like, I can't do it.
What is it? It's worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were in like a 1-bedroom apartment at the time, and even if you put a blanket over it,
Right.
like you can't not hear it.
Do you sleep with a sound machine or
No.
no? We're big sound machine.
Interesting.
Fans.
So is my toddler. So you guys have a lot in common in that way.
Do with your toddler. With the fan is like on high, just like tornado, and then sound machine playing rain. But I feel like I don't think we started that until we got to Seattle when we had the Peppers, because Aspen would hear everything, like a car go by or whatever it was, and he would just bark, bark, bark. So we had a sound machine, and now I can't sleep without it.
Yeah. Do you? Okay, so that's interesting. So yeah, we had her freaking out, and then we were like, this is stupid. Well, then we let her down, or we let her out of the kennel, but then she whines to get up on the bed.
Yes.
Which is not any better. So then it's like, she's 2.5 pounds. Just let her in the bed. We won't even notice.
Right.
No going back.
Right. Once you start that,
but yeah, then she would get down in the morning, like, because she needed to go out.
Being so
in
little?
that apartment, I think she could, but I think maybe we just had like, I don't know if we had a bed
it was like
frame.
a low,
it was like a box spring on the ground or something. So she could, I think. I don't think she could get up, but I think she could jump down.
Yeah.
No, we did have a bed frame because she would crawl under the bed and poop.
Oh no!
So you would just be laying there and like,
and you smell it. Why did she choose that spot?
I don't know.
Oh my god! And then you had to move the whole bed.
Yeah. Well, or climb
Did you have
under
carpet
there,
in there?
or yeah. Oh yeah. So when we moved out of that apartment, they were like, "You're not getting any security deposit back." We had to rip out the carpet. Oh my gosh. And we tried to clean it.
Oh my god, that's awful.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna say, I brought my water in here, but I was like, you know how on podcasts, like they have like, well, American Idol, there's like Sonic, like branded,
Oh, yeah,
you
like
know,
yeah.
and like Joe Rogan
Brought
has
to you
like
by.
coffee or like yeah. What would be your drink / branded?
100% Dr. Pepper, and it's not even like
just
a
Dr. Pepper.
conversation.
Yeah.
Any type of Dr. Pepper. If you're listening, Dr. Pepper, the Dr. Pepper Snapple Company.
Will sponsor us.
I'll do anything. I'll pay you.
Just to have a cup of Dr. Pepper.
I just want to be an official Dr. Pepper podcaster. I love Dr. Pepper. If I could drink that and no water ever, I would do that. 100%. And mostly I do. So.
That's me with cherry Cokes. My mama got me hooked on that one.
Like the actual cherry Coke or like cherry mixed with Coke?
Cherry mixed with Coke. She loves, shout out to my mom. She's the best.
I met her at the wedding.
Just best friend. She always does like Sonics.
Yeah.
Like those Route 44 Sonics. But it's like Coke with the cherry.
Yeah.
And I would, as a kid, I would be like slushies. But
Which your flavor of choice was?
strawberry.
Interesting, because those have
Strawberry
chunks
slushie.
of fruit in them at Sonic.
I do like that. I do like
And
the
they clog up
more
your straw.
chunks. The more chunks of fruit, the better.
Because then they clog up your straw.
Yeah, but then you just go, and then you suck it back up.
That's great.
But they're like they're the sweetest. Like you actually taste the fruit. That's what I love.
Okay.
But my mom got cherry Cokes all the time,
Yeah.
and so growing up, I would drink her cherry Cokes, and now I just do cherry Cokes.
Okay, so yeah, if Dr. Pepper wants to sponsor, I'm game for that. I would love it. I'll wear a shirt. I'll get a tattoo.
Well, don't you have something about Dr. Pepper in there, like merchandise? Maybe not. Oh, maybe you're wearing a Dr. Pepper shirt on the pillow.
I got a pillow made with finger guns. Me with finger guns.
With a Dr. Pepper shirt.
And I do have a Dr. Pepper shirt on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if we can be like officially sponsored by Dr. Pepper, but that could be part of the intro.
Maybe
and
in 5 years from now.
I would be great with that.
Who else would you choose as a sponsor? Like anything and everything. If you had one thing that you had to like promote,
Well, here's
or
the
whatever.
thing. I don't think anybody would pay me to be a sponsor, so it would just be like
people would pay you to be a sponsor.
I feel like it's just going to be a matter of getting stuff for free. So then I'm like, well, what do I want a lot of free stuff of? And at that point, I would probably go to one of the larger candy manufacturers. Maybe Mars
No,
or
it's supposed to be like
Wonka.
gummy bears or nerds or all
because
that
I'm a
kind of stuff.
fruity, chewy candy
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
first and foremost.
I remember that. When's your birthday? Yours like the
June.
first birthday that I was like around for. And I remember us like talking about your birthday and we were like, we should do a charcuterie board of all the candy.
It was amazing. We'll find a picture of it and post it here.
Yeah,
Click
yeah.
this. I'll put that in
Also,
post.
subscribe. Please.
See, that's what I need. I need someone else besides me going like and subscribe. Every time I make a video at home with like Katie and I or the kids, I'll always be like, and like and subscribe for more. Katie's like, oh my gosh, stop.
But for real, have you ever heard of for the love, what's his name? Sam the cooking guy.
Nope.
Shout out to him. We like watch him all the time, and he's just like an hilarious cook. But
Sam, if you want to come on the podcast, let me know.
Hilarious cook, but like reminds me of you in like so many ways. Just like
Aw.
so jokester,
Long
but like
lost brother.
loves.
Does he look like me? Receding
me.
hairline?
No, he doesn't.
Five head?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
No, but he's another one that I would be like, Sam needs to come on here.
When Peyton Manning was still playing football, he would take his helmet off and he'd have like a big giant red spot on his giant forehead from his helmet.
Yeah.
And it just made the five head look even worse. And they were playing in like a playoff game or something. We're over at a friend's house and he has like a, I don't know, 6 or 7 year old. And Peyton Manning comes up for his like player introduction. Peyton Manning, University of Tennessee. And this little kid was like, that looks like Trent. I'm like, no.
Never beat a kid up, but today's the day. Okay, so how did you get into construction? Why construction? Were you like a Bob the Builder boy
Camryn,
growing up?
Thank you for asking me these questions. I feel so cared about. I was not really, but my dad was like, we didn't pay anyone to do anything ever. We did everything ourselves.
I don't know about that. Shout out to my dad.
Yeah, cars, houses, doesn't
All the
matter.
handyman work. Nope.
Whatever it is, if it's broke, we are going to fix it ourselves.
Yep.
That was a point of contention when I got married because that was not how Katie was raised.
That's not how William was raised either.
Yeah, so I'm like, she's like, just call somebody. I'm like, no, I'm not a sucker. So I do think I had a little bit of that just mindset, but I wasn't like into houses or construction. My dad's an engineer. So we did projects, but it was never like remodeling the kitchen.
Yeah.
So then when Katie and I got married, we lived in a rental house for a while because we lived in Topeka, and then shout out to my Topeka friends. And then when we moved back, we were like, okay, we saved up money. We paid off debt, freaking student loans. Golly, don't get me started on that. College is a waste of money. Don't fall for the scam. And I went, so I feel like I can say that. I fell for the scam, so I feel like I can say that. And we moved. So when we got back from Topeka, we're like, okay, we're going to buy a house. So we're looking around, and like you have a number in your head of what you're going to spend. And then you go look at houses, and you're like, that's what I can get.
That's what I get for through 200,000. Yeah, 300. Yeah.
So yeah, we were like, we're gonna spend like 180. Now, granted, this was 10 years ago, but
Yep.
We felt like that was like good budget. We'll get a nice house.
Yeah, good square footage.
And then we're
good,
looking
nice
around.
kitchen.
We're like, okay, I don't really want like a split level, junky house. And so we had found like some neighborhoods we really wanted to be in. And our
but
realtor,
those neighborhoods are.
Yeah, our realtor, Charles Small, shout out. Charles Small, small team.
We're going to have to make a whole list by the end of this podcast of shout outs. You know, when they scroll through the credits.
This sponsor is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. This shout out is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. So, yeah, he's like, we were like, hey, we kind of want to look in this area. He was like, no, you can't afford that.
Nope.
Unless you want to change your budget.
Right. Unless you just buy the piece of land.
Yeah. So we found one that was like in foreclosure. And it was a bigger house in the neighborhood we wanted.
Wow, you got lucky.
And we put a bid in and we won. So we ended up spending our whole budget, but it was like, had no floors. Yeah.
So you did all of that though.
So then we did it all. And so that was the first like time I had been into like woodworking and stuff some, like built a table, built a headboard, you know, so that sort of stuff.
So like you really enjoy it.
Yeah. So we did that, like, not for a living, just like for fun.
Yeah.
And like we wanted to make our house,
Pretty-
like we enjoyed doing that stuff. And so we did that over the course of like 2 years. And then we both really liked it. And then we sold it. And we were like, oh, you can like make money doing this. Mm-hmm. So then when we got the next house, that was like on the list of like, we want something we can do that again.
Right.
Too.
Like a fixer-upper, yeah.
And so we bought the next one, and it was a 1920s old
That's
farmhouse. Yeah. It was like the original farmhouse in this acreage area. And so we bought that, and it was so much work. It was so much worse than the first house.
Does Katie help you with any of it, or she's just going to go pick out the lighting
no,
and
she's
things
great.
like that? Good.
She gets into it. We've kind of settled into our roles.
She's your girl on demo day.
Yeah, we've kind of settled into our roles. Like, I'll do the construction, she does the finishing, basically is how it works out.
Yeah.
And she's, honestly, if I could hire her to be my painter, and I almost have a couple of times, she's a fantastic painter.
All right.
Shout out Katie. Katie's Painting Services. Yeah, she's really good.
I feel like that, scratch the day of the construction work that we have going on planning.
Mm-hmm.
And we just need to be like all the finishing touches. So like caulk and maybe grout. Grout would be good. And like painting and how to put in a can light when there's already a hole.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like the handiwork stuff.
That's a good point.
Not
okay,
the
so
wiring and things like that.
We're doing a construction day for the designers.
Yes.
Was that your idea?
I'm pretty sure it was my idea because of the whole shower valve thing that we went through. Yeah, like backstory. I had picked a shower valve, a pretty shower valve. All I'm looking at is brass, and wow, that's gonna look so good in the bathroom designing. All it does is turn on and off.
Yeah.
So there's no hot, there's no cold, anything like that.
Yeah.
So Trent calls me when I get back from the wedding. He's like, so this.
Is that your Trent impression?
So you picked the wrong one. So, that's where I'm like, okay, I just need more knowledge on like construction stuff because I feel like there's been so many like little things like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I just knew it, like I know I'm not going to know everything, but like a shower valve, don't just get it on off. And what does that look like? And what are those like construction terms that I should be looking for?
Yeah. Part of me really wants to do that, and part of me thinks once I give you guys, if you give a mouse a cookie,
right? We'll tell you how to do your job. Yeah.
Then
No, this can work.
That's not hard. Just
Right.
put a coupling on and move the. I'm like, oh, dang.
Yeah. So we have a construction day coming up of teaching all that stuff, but I also want to do like a finishing day of like.
We need to put it in the comments what tasks do you want to see the girls do, because that would be.
It's gonna be a lot of content. Day.
I'm gonna try to do a few things that I think would be tricky, because I really don't want you to succeed. I want you to struggle.
And
at the end of the video, go, oh my gosh, Trent, you guys are so amazing.
So this morning, the girls, we're talking since like 7:30 a.m. and we just come up with like very beautiful, but possibly very hard like construction things for you to do that we probably would never throw at you, but it's almost just like a laughing thing.
Right.
Laugh
at Trent's expense.
This morning, we found an arch for a door opening, but then you put marble on the inside of the arch. And we were like, oh my God, this is stunning. We're going to do it. They just took like slabs and like laid it. It almost looks scallopy. And oh my gosh, it looks so good. So maybe in a year from now.
I keep thinking to myself, every time we finish one of these, that I'm like, that is going to be such a pain. Then we end up doing it. We figure it out.
And it looks stunning.
Looks great. But then I'm like, okay, finally. I'm to a point where I know everything they're going to ask. And then every presentation, they're like, okay, so picture this.
You just need like a bunch of little like contractors that you can point your finger to, and then you go do the fun part of exactly what you want to do.
Okay, that's what Lori says too. Here's the problem. You have to trust them.
Okay.
On quality, on schedule, on showing up, on how much they're going to charge you.
Yep.
There's just a lot of trust.
So can you hold like post it on LinkedIn, post it on all the things, and have an interview? Like in here, interview and have like an almost contractor open house.
You can,
have
but
them
everyone
come through.
just tells you what you want to hear. That's the problem.
Well, then you do a test run. That's why people have like 4 or 5 interviews.
I know.
Let's
but when
go to
you
a
have
house.
to do a new thing on every job.
All right. Well, then you just get rid of the ones who did a really sucky job the first time, and then here you go. Can you do this?
Yeah.
Can I teach you how to do this? I know it's way harder than what I'm letting on.
No,
but
that is the
maybe one
process.
day,
Yeah.
day that you can just have like all the contractors and just like have them out in front of you, and you can do what you want, and then everybody else would be like masters and whatever else that you don't want to do, like a marble arched opening.
What ends up being more often than that is you have a contractor that you know can do one thing well, a sub, and you say, like, can you do this?
Like the trim work.
And they say yes. 100% of the time they say yes, I can do that.
Right.
And about 25% of the time they can do that. But they say yes every time.
Yeah.
Because it's business.
Right.
And I'm going to be like, no,
Right. Can't do it.
I don't think I can do a good enough job, so I'm going to turn down the money you want to
Right.
give me. They'll just say yes.
But I wish people were just honest.
Yeah.
Just makes it so much easier. And like, okay, if you can't do trim work, what can you do? You can go do that tile work. Can you paint? Like, what can you do?
They just say yes. They say
Yeah.
yes every time.
Yeah.
And even, I feel like it's an industry problem.
Maybe Billy, our other contractor. Have you had him on here yet?
Shout out Billy.
Shout out, Billy.
No, I haven't yet.
Oh, you need to. Okay, but what was I going to say? Oh, Billy just needs to run a class. Like, I feel like Billy needs to host a master class for
Okay, but the problem
stuff.
is that, yes, part of it is education, but also part of it is just skill and attention to detail. And, like, being
People are
willing.
lazy.
Yeah, being willing to be like, that doesn't look great. I
Right.
should recut it.
Right. Instead of just, client's not going to
Good
see
enough.
that. Designer's not going to see
We'll
it. It's
caulk
going to be
it.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So, I don't know. It's harder than it sounds, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm the victim. I'm the victim of all your design schemes. Yeah.
What else?
So, you've been here for a year.
Yes.
What would you say has been unexpected?
Ooh.
Is the actual day-to-day what you expected it to be?
Here?
Yeah.
Oh, no. I am not very used to. I've probably worked for 3 or 4 other interior design firms, and every single one of them has been different. But still coming into it, I expected, like, I feel like whenever you're thinking, like, interior design firm, you think of, like, blazers and professional and very put together. And, like, that's just still what I think. And I don't think that's been any of my firms that I've actually worked for.
Yeah.
But, I'm interviewing here and in Kansas City, like, I still had that, like, mentality. And so, like, coming here, I still had the mentality even after I had talked to you guys and had interviews, and I knew who I was coming to work for, but it was still like, okay, I need to, like, be the interior designer that, like, everybody has the forefront in their minds of like that total put together, has their crap together, like all of that. But obviously, like, that's never how it goes. Ever. Never how it goes. Always on the outside, all these people look like so put together, but then you start working for somebody like Collected Living, and it is leggings and tennis shoes and hairs up in buns.
So we have immutable laws, and one of them is something to the effect of, like, don't let professionalism get in the way of relationships.
Yeah. And the other thing is that I would say, I worked for a dance studio and grew up in a dance studio that I thought I would never be able to, like, work for that kind of environment again. Like, my boss and I are so super close. Like, she was, like, down the street from us, like, me growing up as a kid. And so I, like, grew up in her dance studio, and she was always, like, that second mom to me. And so growing up in a studio that felt like home, and that felt like I could build those relationships with not only, like, the directors and the boss and, like your coworkers when you start working there and everything like that, it wasn't just work. And I had the mentality of, I am never going to find another work environment that is going to make me feel like it's not work. Like I would work for them for free anytime. Like I would pay to work for them. That's how much I like just love to be around and how much I loved like the people. And so when interviewing and applying and doing all this stuff, like that is always what's in like the back of my head of like, I want to just work for the people, and just like have great relationships, because I feel like I can be successful with the great relationships, but things start going down when it's just about work and you don't have the great relationships and you don't have like the personalities that are bouncing off each other and stuff like that. Yeah. So that, I didn't know that it was going to come to this. Like from first day meeting you guys, I thought it was going to be a lot more put together. I mean, we are put together, but
you guys are a mess.
A lot more like professional than it is. Like it's just like a home, and I feel like it's like very comparable to like who I used to work for, and that's why I go home telling William, I'm like, I don't know what we're gonna do, but I'm sticking to my guns, and I can't leave them. Like these are. Like that was dance, and this like interior design, like this is like my dream interior design of not even just firm, it's just like the people. Yeah. Like it could be collected living, but without like the three owners and Erin. Shout out Erin.
Erin.
She told me to shout her out at some point. Of course she did. Such an Erin it just like makes it, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like the clients that we do see that, and I'm just like, I feel like we all like brainstorm. Like, how do we get clients and how do we get people to just see us for our personalities? Like, put aside the interior design, put aside the contract work, like renovation, put that aside. Like, be like personable first. Like, I want you to meet us as people first, because it's just so different. Yeah. So different. And even in the way we carry on work is so different.
Yeah. We used to have, the last place I worked, we had there was like a poster on the wall. It was like one of those like, you know, those like motivational posters. It was like a rowing team, and it says like,
be the leader in the front, not the leader in the back.
Well, but it said something about like in 10 years, no one is going to remember the problems that you had or the successes, but they will remember if they liked you or not.
Right.
And I think that's 100% true.
100%, especially with collected living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do think like we try to work with people we like, and we hope that like people that want to work with us choose us because they feel like they can trust us. Whatever. Because at the end of the day, like no matter what you're doing, you have to like it's an interaction with people.
Right.
That accomplishes it. Right. So like, yeah, we want to do a great job. We want to have a great design. Yeah. We want to execute well and be like a good experience on what you're paying for.
But I feel like
at the end of the day, like
for me,
how
it's
you're
second to relationships. Yeah. Yes.
Like the interaction with each other colors so much of that.
Yes. Yeah, and it's like I go home, or I'll like talk to friends or talk to family, and they're like, "How's your job?" Like all this stuff, and I'm like, it's amazing. But the first thing I think about is the people. Yeah. Like, I don't know, like, heck, we could be doing not interior design. Like, I could be doing something I never thought I would be doing, and it would still be just as good. Does that make sense? Like, we could be working for a zoo, and I'd be so happy just because of the people.
We're kind of a zoo. You're going to bring your puppy in. Then we'll be really like a zoo.
Literally. 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think that I like that we do things that I'm interested in, but I don't think that's like the number one thing that is required to like enjoy. But I'd had a few jobs out of college, and I was like, I think just everybody hates their job. I think everybody hates work.
That's a mentality.
That is just how it goes.
And like, you know, when people are asking you, hey, how's your job going? They're like expecting the
100% expecting.
I have to go on a job every day. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, they're going like, how much do you hate your job?
Right. And I'm like, actually.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that makes me feel good. We try really hard to like make the environment a good place to work. But you still have to like be a business.
You still have to work. Yeah. You still got to pay bills, technically.
But it's definitely different than I thought it was going to be owning a business.
What?
But I like it.
what did you expect? Like, okay, when was the moment you were like, I'm going to own a business one day? Or like, maybe I should really hit the ground running with a business? Or like, when was that? Did you have like a switch that kind of like turned on?
Yeah, it was during COVID, actually, which wasn't that long ago, because I really hadn't anticipated. I was always pretty risk averse. So like the idea of starting a business, I'm like, I just need a paycheck. And so like, I can't really do
so
that.
much easier to work for somebody rather than
And so I just wanted the security, I think. And so then in COVID, basically the company called and said like, hey, we can't pay you guys. We want you to keep working, but like,
but you're not gonna get a paycheck.
we're stopping the paychecks.
Yeah.
Because there's too much uncertainty. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
That was the whole deal, is like, I give up potential for bigger gains, but like I get the security. So I think a switch kind of flipped there when I was like, well, if things
You're
go
still
bad,
not guaranteed.
right. If things go bad and I just like don't get paid anymore as soon as that switch flips, then like I might as well just work for myself.
Right.
Because that's the whole thing. And I've always had a mindset, I think, that I won't call it a problem with authority, but it's basically what it is. It's hard for me
You and I
to
are very similar.
It's hard for me to just take direction blindly, especially if I'm looking at it going like, but that doesn't make sense.
And especially if you don't like respect the person 100%
Oh,
and trust them and
Yeah, so I think so this is whatever. This is part of the college scam. So I got my degree in biomedical engineering.
Okay.
I graduated. I worked at the bike shop that I worked in college.
Heard about this.
I loved the bike shop.
Yeah.
When I hear you talk about the dance studio, I'm like, oh yeah, that was the bike shop. I just loved being
Loved it.
there.
Loved
I loved
it.
being around it. It was just fun. But it wasn't even full time, and I had college debt and student loans, and so I'm like, I'm applying for like 20 jobs a day. I'm not even getting interviews. Freaking college.
You didn't go to one of those career fairs and that kind of thing.
So that was bad. And I had a buddy, I think, that had worked at Dick's Sporting Goods. And so one had just opened by my house, and they were hiring like the bike department.
Yeah.
But it was full time.
Right.
I think it was like $10 an hour.
Oh, for the love. Out
But
of
I'm
college.
like, it's full time at least.
Yeah.
So I went to work as the bike guy at Dick's Sporting Goods. And all of that to say, I was the manager, like the store manager, comes over and she's like, hey, it's store policy to put all the bikes that are like done and working on like the top, like the upper rack. And I'm like,
so what do you do? Like a forklift or like how?
Like I can get them up there, but then nobody can get to them or touch them
Test
without
them
me
out
getting them
or-
down.
right.
And then we have like open slots and unfinished bikes on the bottom. Like that,
Well, that doesn't make any sense.
make sense. And so I kind of said that, and she was like, well, that's the store policy. And I'm like,
why? And that,
But
that
that's
just
dumb.
boils my blood right then and there, because I feel like so many, like the firms that I have worked for, like that's been the policy. Like there's been, well, this is just how we do things. Well, this has been the process. Well, this is, and I'm like, but listen, like it doesn't have to be like if everybody was just like open to even hearing out like other people's opinions, like maybe it could be better. Like maybe you stick with a process and maybe we get there, but maybe there's a different avenue. Maybe there's a different way to get there. And that's one of the things that I love about this is because, you know, I'm very fresh blood, very young blood from compared to everybody here. But everybody's very open to all of the opinions, like changing the processes, what works for you. And if you get stuff done, do what works for you.
right.
And
Yeah,
like,
100%. And I think that part of it is we're just too small to have that like bureaucracy almost. So like my manager at Dick's, which my best friend called Richards, just to really, class it up. So the manager there, she didn't know why. She just knew it was the rule.
I was told to do one thing, and I'm going to tell you to do the
Which,
same
like,
thing.
that's where that problem becomes a problem.
Yep.
Because, like, you don't even understand it.
Right.
You're just told to enforce it.
Right.
I never want that to be a thing here. And we're small enough that like it
It's
isn't.
not right. Mm-hmm.
Because like the people that came up with the rules are the ones
And you hired
enforcing
people
the
that are going
rules.
to question you.
Yeah, we definitely did, but like that is what we look for, is like people who are going to think critically.
Yeah.
Like, is this the best way to do it?
Yeah.
If not, like, don't be a robot. That is
Right.
actually one of our immutable laws. It's like, don't just be someone who comes in and does what they're told. Like, yes, you have things you need to get done.
Right.
How you go about them, I don't really care.
Figure it out.
If they get done, like, great.
Mm-hmm.
Now, then, like, I think our methodology, and you mentioned earlier, like, making mistakes early on, it's like, well, you made the mistakes, and then you learn from the mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't, like, try to, like, no, don't do that. No, don't do that.
Right.
No.
Right.
Careful. Because at the end of the day, like, you figured it out, and now you don't need to have the guardrails because you learned the lessons. So I would love for there to not be those mistakes.
Yeah.
But, like, when given the choices of, like, give someone every parameter for everything they have to do forever, or just, like, let them understand themselves,
Right.
and then, like, they'll police
it out.
themselves,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
manage themselves.
Yeah.
Because I would much rather the management, quote unquote, part of the job just be like steering the
Being
business.
a leader. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Setting the tone.
Yeah.
Than like, we need to talk about your whatever. Like, ugh. That sounds disgusting.
I don't think I've ever had a one-on-one with you of like, we need to really talk about this decision.
Yeah, seriously. And I do think like one of the things I took away from our last job was they said like, hey, if you like whatever happens, whatever you do, if there was a reason you did it that way and it went bad, like fine. You had a reason.
Right.
You thought it was going to work. It didn't work. Like,
Right.
okay, you did your best. You thought it was going to work.
Right.
Like,
but now we know. Let's shift and figure it out. Yeah.
If you said like, I don't know, I just did it. Like, well, then that's a problem.
Right.
But like, if you tried something, it didn't work. Like nobody can predict the future 100% of the time. So I think that all that about like this all ties together. But like trying new subs and trying new things, like, yeah, I don't know what's going to work or not work. We can try it and hopefully it's great. And a lot of times it is no problem and sometimes it is a problem. And usually like we figure it out, you know, it's not the end of the world, but I definitely like don't like to be caught not knowing. And some of it is like nobody knows everything.
Right.
But like if I'm so I'm an Enneagram 6, which is all like fear based.
I don't remember what mine was.
I worry about everything.
Okay.
Like my number one feeling I want to try to avoid is getting caught in a situation where it's like, how did you not see that coming? So I
Like
obsessively
disappointment
like
off of people.
getting made to look a fool, or like, how did you not catch that is like my deepest deepest fear. And there's some things I'm sure going on underneath there. But I hate that feeling. So I think that is part of the challenge for me with trying new things is like, no, but I know what to expect on these things we've done before.
Right.
So I push back, and then Lori pushes back harder, and then we end up doing it anyway.
And then Lori has now 2 designers behind her that are even going to push harder.
Yeah, we're like, let's put it to a vote. Everybody's on Lori's side. Okay.
Yeah.
So unexpected. We're not as professional as you thought.
Okay.
Favorite
listen.
part?
Favorite part.
Least favorite part.
Least favorite part. Oh, Lordy. Least favorite part. That you guys are 40 minutes away from where I live. That you guys are in Liberty
But
and
you're gonna
not
move
Kansas
soon.
City. We possibly, yes. I mean, we had to re-sign our lease. But I don't think we'd move to Liberty.
But you could move closer.
We could move closer. But Liberty is just, it's farther. And I'm very much a person
the
to
thing.
be like
You say it's
shopping.
farther.
It is farther.
It's farther from you.
Than like Leawood and like Mission Hills.
Okay, but what are
and
we
all of those
saying is
places.
the center?
Downtown Kansas City.
So you're just as far from downtown Kansas City as we are.
Right.
So why are you
But-
better than us?
I'm not better than you. It's me, down in Kansas City, Liberty.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like where I'm at, so I'm gonna stay in my spot. You asked for a negative, and that's the only thing I got. So
I'll take it because it has nothing to do with me.
No, has nothing to do with anything about collected living.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just it's not far because oh my God, we're from Dallas. Like you go to work and you're driving an hour. You're in traffic and you're in traffic for 30 more minutes.
But 40 minutes is not fun.
40 minutes, it's not. No.
Unless you're listening to the Collected Living Design podcast. Like and subscribe.
Yeah. So, that's the only negative thing I got. Positive thing, but we've touched on this.
Yeah.
We've touched on this. It's just like
so it's
people.
the people.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I'll tell everybody what my first interview was. So William and I travel a lot. And I had that kind of like in the back of my head, like while interviewing, because, I'm not going to go to a company who's like, you have 1 week of vacation for the whole year. Like, I am very much a believer of I don't like work to live, but I like live to work, you know? And so
I think you said that backwards.
I was processing that.
100%. I live to work.
I don't live to work. Okay, but we like doing like hobbies and traveling and like experiencing life other than working. And so in the back of my head, I'm like, I need a job that's going to be flexible, but like something I love to do. Like I'm in a very like fortunate position where I don't have to work, but I just want to because of the people. I want to just because I enjoy doing it or whatever.
Could you sit at home alone all day and be happy? Or you need people?
I would spiral. I would so in Seattle, we lived, I don't know, like an hour and a half south of downtown. And we had never been to Seattle before, either one of us. And so we didn't know like areas, what we were looking for, like anything like that. So, on Zillow, before we moved up there, I'm like favoriting like just a bunch of cute houses because in a bunch of different areas because I had no idea. And we like got a rental car, and right as we're like for the first day we like drove by everything just to like figure out the neighborhoods. And we ended up marking off, I'm going to say like 95% of the houses just because of where they were located. And so we ended up like an hour and a half south of downtown, but all of the jobs that I had been looking at were like north of downtown. And we also had a brand new pupper at the time, and William's job was even more south than we were. And it was just a totally new environment. And so that year was not the best year because I didn't work for, I think, 6 months. I stayed in the house, took care of a brand new puppy, and didn't work. And I was just like...
A new city, no friends.
New city, no friends, no family. Had always grown up with family. Had never moved out of Texas. So it was very...
And Texas to Seattle, I mean, that is a shift.
Oh, it's a 6-hour flight. 6-hour flight. Maybe 4 hours. 4 or 5, 6, nonstop.
Culturally.
Very big shift.
Very different.
Very big shift. Everybody's very closed off, like stays in their own personal little bubble. Don't look at me. Don't talk to me.
Nobody's carrying
don't
their
touch
guns
me.
around.
Nope.
Nobody's got American flag tattoos.
Nope. But everybody's very friendly in Texas, and Seattle was just like not what I expected.
Well, how do you be friendly if it's raining? You can't be friendly.
And then you don't go outside, right? And then you're just stuck inside. So I am very much a person who like has to be doing something, whether it's photography, baking, like dancing, going to like workout classes or whatever, like to be socializing with people, right? And I think that's where a lot of my like career paths come from is like dance. Like I'm with people 24/7, like kids, adults, like whatever. Like
let's talk about, because you brought this up, as we have been working with you, we have noticed I'll call it a tick. As you're explaining things, you go, we've got this corner here, boop, boop. We go, and we all laughed and made fun, and then you showed us a video. But apparently it's like a dance language.
It is. Like, this is how you choreograph. You go, da, da, da.
Boom, bap, bap, boom. Shoot.
It's just... It is.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, growing up dancing and then teaching dance.
Like, it literally was exactly what you do in this video.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. And it's just... I guess I don't like, you could literally ask any dancer. I don't know that it's like dance language, but I feel like it is dance language because you could go like shoot boop and everybody knows like the kind of movement like that you're doing. Like a shoot boop is not going to be like a slow liquid movement. It's going to be like a crisp. So
Yeah,
maybe
everybody
it
knows
is.
that.
Yeah. My dancer people do. But it's just funny.
That's
It's just
interesting
funny.
because I do feel like a lot of times this is a problem with communication in general, is that the words typically are not good enough to communicate everything, like body language and tone. But then like 80% of our communication is via email with anyone outside of like the office.
Right.
And you can't communicate tone. You can't communicate body language.
We've
you
seen
can't,
that.
Yeah. And sometimes it's screws with your head because like you're not.
Especially Trent, who's one who spirals with disappointment or reads into things and
They
yes.
hate me. They didn't put a single exclamation point.
Right. Or do like a smiley face or emoji in any of it or
Yeah.
you know, can't wait to talk to you soon. Like
But
any
then
of
like
that.
on the phone, it's great. And it's all fine. And even the phone, you don't have body language, but at least you have tone.
you hear it. Yeah.
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 So I do think that like just in general, words aren't enough
Yeah.
for communication. So then you have like you're saying, I know it's kind of funny, but like the sound of the sound. Like you don't even have to see it.
Yeah.
And you know what they're talking
Yes.
about to some degree.
Yeah. Did you ever do that before me?
No.
You guys ever do that? Like I don't know.
No.
If you guys were like explaining something and you're like
Definitely not. No, never. Like imagine Lori doing that.
no, but
That's
now we
not
do.
her. But yeah, now we
But
all
now
do.
we do.
We've picked it up because you've made your mark.
Yep. Okay, so from the beginning to now, I know you guys, when you guys first hired me, you guys were not looking to hire. Like you guys
Right.
were not looking to hire. You weren't like even thinking about hiring a designer in your like
You
future
found
or
us.
anything. I found you guys.
Yeah.
So from then until now, has like my role or job or personality or me as a person like changed to what your expectation was? Or
That's a good question. I feel like everything we thought we knew at all times is always changing. So yes, but only because everything in a business this small, there's no room for being wrong and continuing on the wrong path.
right.
So you just like try things. Did that work? No. Is this what we thought? Nope.
Nope.
Shift. And it's just like so instant
Yeah.
that like everything is always changing all the time. So like if we make it through like writing a job description, by the time we post it, it's changed because
Do
we're
we
like,
even have a job
I don't
description
even
for
think
mine
that
yet?
I think there is one somewhere.
Is there?
I'm sure
'Cause
it's
I haven't
not.
seen it.
I'm sure it's not accurate at all to what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think that we didn't know what to expect, and the other thing is like you don't know what's reasonable to ask of people because we were executing as all owners,
Right.
and it's just different when you
Hire somebody completely from the
Yeah.
outside. Yeah.
and so like what we can ask people to do, what we can expect of people. I don't think we really knew, so yeah,
feel
it
like
looks totally different, but it's been, I think, a good evolution. And I think what you've done and what we needed, I mean, I think we even said this in the interview, is like, we need someone who can come in and kind of define what the role
Right.
should be because we don't really know.
Because we know the tasks that
Yeah.
we need to get done, but
We
we don't have any
know-
processes. We
Right.
don't have any. Yeah.
We know that we have more work than we can get done. And we need someone to
Get
take
it?
up
Just
some of
help.
that.
Yeah,
So,
and we
like,
don't know what that
exactly-
looks like. We
right.
don't know how you're going to get it done. But
Yeah.
here's the stuff we need you to get done, and I need you to take
And
it
so
and go.
then it's like a matter of, okay, well, we have to kind of delegate, and we need also someone who can say like, I can do that, I can take this. So we end up with where you are now, which is great. And
We went from no processes to, I'm going to say we're at like 65% processes right
Yeah.
now.
it's like I am naturally averse to processes because it feels to me similar to the like boss that doesn't
There's
know
one way to do it and one way only.
doesn't know why we're doing what we're doing. We just like mandate it and it is this way always, and sometimes it doesn't fit.
Right.
And so it has to be, I do think it's better to have someone who's thinking critically and problem solving with a process. Like, I think the process is helpful,
Right.
but you can't just have the process.
Right.
It has to be both, because sometimes processes don't make sense. But if you have no processes, then
well, if you have no
everyone does it
processes in a big
different.
company, then
Yeah, but even like when we first started, or when we merged, really, all the designers did things a different way. And so, like, what I'm getting from each designer for each
totally
project
different.
is totally different.
Yep.
There was no consistency, and it makes it really hard to, like, not miss things,
right.
not forget things, not drop balls, because there's a lot of moving pieces.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think that the processes are important, but I'd still, like, want to be really picky about what processes we make.
Right. So we're going to use ArcSight. We're going to use Trello. We're going to use BuildBook. But the way that you use those, it's just...
Yeah, it's
laying
like,
out
we
everything.
need this information to be in this spot.
Right.
Like,
however you get it there,
yeah. So, like, we can keep going more and more and more and more processes, but I want them to be things that definitely make sense, that we've tried, it works.
Yeah.
It's like, having processes that don't make sense is worse than no processes.
Right.
Because I think there's an element to all of that stuff that makes people feel like, well, I just did what I was supposed to do. And it's like, well, I need you to take responsibility for it, though. Not just, like, do what the
was
robot
expected.
says.
Yeah.
And so then I think you can end up in worse situations. But we pick people that we feel like are going to be, you are that
decent
person. Well, they're just going to be, like, care and not just check a box.
Right. Yep.
And so it's worked out good.
It has. The Lord knows what he's doing.
I love that you love it. We want to be a place that people love to work. So that's why we need you to call us about your renovation needs.
To all 20 of you who are watching.
Yeah, exactly. Tell everyone you know.
It's okay. I'll post it on my Instagram, and then maybe I'll be like, I'm on a podcast.
Yeah,
and
we
then,
have we
friends
have a meeting today to talk about our referral program. So,
like,
post in the
referral
comments if you
program
want,
from, like, how I get peeps, or, like, referral program from client to client.
Yes.
Which one?
Client to client.
Client to client. Got it.
Like, it doesn't even have to be a client, I guess.
Yeah.
If you recommend us,
Yeah.
then, like,
Gold
we'll
star.
hook you up.
Gold star.
But I don't even know what. What's
We'll
a
come
good
up with stuff.
referral?
We'll brainstorm.
What's a good referral bonus?
Maybe percentage off furniture to finish your space if you've already been doing a renovation with us.
Yeah.
Or maybe
What would you just
buy...
be, like, so jacked up to get, like, so excited about? If you had you used a gutter guy to clean your gutters, and he said, like, hey, I've got a referral bonus.
for gutters?
Whatever it is. Your mechanic, your whatever.
My first thing is a vacation, but that's a little bit hard to give to clients. I would probably say having.
It has to be
I'm
universal.
Still thinking, has to be universal.
Well, yeah, because you just
for
have to
all
pick
businesses.
one. No, I'm just saying, like, the gift can't be tailored to each specific person.
Right.
Otherwise, you can't
But
advertise
if we get a renovation, and I am just done with my renovation, obviously I'm not a person to, like, do my renovation of my entire house. Like,
I don't feel like
would want
giving them
somebody
money off of a renovation helps.
I would
'cause they've
want
already done
somebody
it.
to come out and, like, tell me the exact paint colors I need for a different space, or, like, be like, you have a
Free
$5,000
services.
you have a $5,000 credit to get a free sofa in this space. Like, here are
heck
all
of a
of the
referral.
here are all of the window treatments I would use in your home. Like, something like that I would actually, like, have to pay for a service, but I have no knowledge of as a client.
But what if the person that's going to refer us already has all new window treatments?
Well, then we come up with something different. But you're right, universal, and that's, like, so hard to, like,
How do you
think
feel
about
like you
what
are,
would everybody want.
How do you feel like you are at gift giving? On a scale of 1 to 10.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would feel like
We can call William and ask him what
he
he thinks you are.
Well, probably not bomb at gift giving. I very much like go off of his list.
Oh,
And
don't be
then,
that guy.
listen, hear me out.
Okay.
And then I have like made a list like over the years of like
Okay.
things that he's like needed that he doesn't know that he needs,
Mm.
or like, you know, things that would like help him, or things that are more like personable, you know?
Yeah.
Like I've been very crafty with our gifts. Like I've done like a scrapbook of like our entire like first year, second year, third year, that kind of stuff. That kind of thing, but I feel like guys don't like appreciate that kind of stuff
I
as
wasn't
much.
going to say it, but you're saying it.
But, you know, I've made lists of like things that he's like needed but doesn't need, and then he uses the things. That's where I feel like I'm a
Is
good
that
gift
his,
giver.
like, is that a good gift to him? Is one that's, like, really useful?
No. A good gift to him is something that's on his list, like a golf club,
Yeah.
like a specific golf club,
Yeah,
and you're
sure.
going to buy it for him. Happy as a clam.
Yeah.
And I've learned that from the beginning, so I pretty much just go off of his list now because that's what's
Yeah.
going to make him the most happy. But gift giver, I'm a 6.5.
Okay.
My sister's killer. I can totally do it.
Shout out Camryn's sister.
Sisters.
Hers. Well, I didn't know. Maybe you were talking about one is good and one's bad.
Both of them. I'm good at gift giving. Yeah. But I feel like men are just hard. Like men are just
Okay.
hard to gift give.
That
like
is
even
not
my
true.
dad. Even my dad. I feel like I have a hard time like gift giving my dad. Because
People
I'm like,
say
I don't want to
that.
give him like tools, and I don't want to give him like
Why not? Guys
manly
love
things.
tools.
Because then I'm like, I feel like I'm expecting you to get all the jobs done.
Okay. Like buying a...
You know, like buying a vacuum for my mom.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it has to be something that is
Yeah.
like extra, like something that he can't go out and get, like something he wouldn't go out and get by himself. 6.5, maybe a 6. Now that I'm thinking about it.
So maybe we don't put you in charge of the
Not
referral.
maybe not
program.
gift giving. Yeah. But going to lunch, like referrals and like being spunky and happy and making relationships, that's all on me.
Yeah. So I think that's interesting. I don't know how you do it because it does kind of feel like it has to be specific. There's some things that people would love and other people would hate, and vice versa, or versa versa, as my
Maybe you do multiple different things. Like here's a list that you can pick
you
from.
can choose one.
Like a list of 5 things.
That's a
Here's
good
something
idea.
you can do.
And we have this whole meeting, so we're probably jumping the gun. But
Right. We have in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have like a. I guess that's an interesting part of small business. I don't feel like it ever stops.
No, it doesn't. And Abby and I were just talking about that. It's like, okay, we'll go home at 3, 4, whatever time of the day we go home. And I'm still like FaceTime Marcoing, however you want to do it.
Did you say you got Marcos at 7:30 this morning?
Marco's? Yeah, Aaron and I like it's because I Marcoed Aaron first at like 7:30. But we're like all over Instagram, like looking at videos and like interior design stuff, and then we start talking. Can you imagine if we shared this situation? Like that's how it starts. And then Good Morning Marco start about like between 8 and 8:30.
What do you mean, good morning, Marcos?
Good morning. How's your
Shut
day?
up. Oh my god.
See in the studio. Are you
I'm
like
so
what do
glad
you
I
have on
don't
your
have-
list? But that's what I'm saying. It's the people. Like
I'm glad you love that.
We could
I would
not
hate it.
hire people who were like reserved and like were very like worked like this. Like people like we're the kind of people who like bounce off of each other for literally everything possible. And so I feel like that's like interview number 3 is like, can you handle a day of Marcoing with the girls?
I was literally
It's like we're bouncing off everything all
I
the
was
time.
working from home because of the snow, and
Oh, so you were too scared to drive too?
I was not, but I knew no one else was going to be working, so I was working from home, and there's just Voxers just coming in all day. It's just a
hate
constant stream
Voxer.
of words playing, and Katie was like, I don't know how you do that. I could not focus.
I like Marco because I see her face. It's kind of like FaceTime. But for the people, including myself, that like sit there and like you're watching them think, like those are like seconds on end that you're just like watching and like waiting for them to get the point across, you know?
I had one of my best friends from high school. This is kind of related. He would call Okay, let's just role play this.
Okay.
Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey,
Hey! How you doing? What are you calling about?
what's up?
Hello. Hello. How's your day? Like anything.
Yeah. Like, did you need something?
Right.
Or...
Right.
I'll just calling to say hi.
Yeah. That's the girls like 50% of the time.
Yeah.
And then we start talking about design stuff.
Sometimes
but, you know.
he would need something, but it would take a couple minutes
Yeah.
to get to it.
I think that's why most businesses only stick with emails, is because you
efficiency.
have the efficiency, but you have the time to like ponder on your thoughts, but then like get everything on paper, precise, perfect before you send it. And then you send it and then you get the precise, perfect back. Versus we're very much like Voxer, Marco, emails, calls, texts. Like, how many sources of communication do we have? Build book. But it's like...
We should probably make a process about it.
Probably. But I think about every single source of communication that we have, and I feel like there's some purpose that I get out of it or some purpose that we get out of it.
Well, part of it is just that we are not in the office all together 40 hours a week.
Right.
And so we end up using all these different things to try to make...
I feel like we're in the office 40 to 60 hours a week.
Yeah,
just
we're definitely not.
because we have Marco and Voxer, and we
Yeah.
are always talking about all of the
Right.
things. But I feel like that's why big companies are only like sticking to phone calls and email, because it's very just like direct and to the point. Whereas we're small business and we can handle the 27 Marcos a day. Or
it's honestly fine if I catch it when it's starting, but if
Yeah.
I miss it all,
and then you're backed up.
phone,
or those group Marcos with all the
guess
girls.
what? I know what I'm doing for the next hour.
That's your podcast for the 40-minute drive up.
Exactly. Just turn it on and
let it roll.
Well, and then like you're thinking of responses as they're playing,
Yes.
and then you're like, oh, I got to remember to say that.
And then you forget.
Yeah.
And that's why, last week, I really wouldn't feel like in trouble is not a thing. That we didn't. But it was just like, okay, everybody needs to stop talking about work on Marco. Because there's so many things that, like, okay, if I give you a task or I tell you, like, hey, did you do this? Or, hey, like, you need to do this. And I'm talking for 5 more minutes, it's going to go right over my head.
Yeah.
Like, and then it doesn't get done. But at the same time, it's not their fault. Like, I went on the wrong source of communication of, I just need to send you an email.
Yeah.
Be like, can you please do this? Like, period. And then we can talk about it over Marco, but no tasks, no nothing, like that kind of thing.
When it's
we
just voice
like talk,
and there's
talk.
no record,
Yeah, nothing.
super hard.
Yeah. So we're making shifts.
Yeah.
We're making adjustments, and it's like all about time. We'll figure it out. But yeah.
Okay, what's next for you in collected living? Are you the type of person that like you can settle into a role and just be good?
Normally, no. But I'm going to say this is different just because I feel I'm like very happy. I'm happy now that I was when I first got hired. Like, there's been no change of like how content I am with my job. And I also think that's because it's just like going like this. Like the company, that like my role, like what I'm doing, like we're always getting new clients. I'm always doing something different.
Yeah.
Like, there's always a different task that like I haven't done for the past year, So it's just, yes, I'm always looking for like that step up or like, how can we be better? What can we do? But I feel like I'm doing the same job. There's just like so many different tasks that I do that I feel like I'm exceeding at anyway. Like, everybody's just like going like this. Like, everybody has the same job title, but it's just going up. Like, there are no promotions, but I feel like we're getting promotions monthly because it's just more things.
It is
building on it.
Being project based. It does feel like it's not stale. It's not the same thing over and over.
There's one reason why I chose interior design. No, I was not a desk girl. Like, sitting at a desk doing like accounting or doing like
freaking accountants, nerds, aka Abby.
But I did not picture myself sitting at a desk from 8 to 5 every day doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I would spiral doing that too. I just needed something that was going to like fuel me, like fill my cup.
Do you have any part of you, because I was talking about this, I think with Lori, I think it was Lori. Like, I I have that, but I also have like competing desires to just like be comfortable and not tired.
I go through days, where I'm just like,
I just want to relax.
yes, and I just want to like
that's not,
do
like,
the bare
really
minimum.
fulfilling.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. And if I was like that stagnant all the time, like I wouldn't enjoy what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's just about. I feel like for me, it's about like mood swings and like, you know, how you wake up that day and things like that. But I feel like 80% of the time I'm like, let's go and doing all the things and talking to all the people and very spunky.
You know those shirts or like coffee mugs that say like, "Don't talk to me till I've had my coffee."
I don't know. I've never.
Okay, I feel like they're a little over the top.
Yeah, agreed. But
then
I understand the
sometimes
background.
I'll
like the point
have
of it.
like a giant coffee and I'm like,
woo!
It's not that like
The
I
huge
don't want to
difference.
interact, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, it's like some mornings, like yesterday, like it was like 8 a.m. and it was just slow rolling, like for Aaron and I yesterday morning. It was like we were talking about some tasks and it was just going right over our head because
Yeah.
we were like weren't processing because it was so early. And then, you know, once we both like had breakfast, had a coffee, got moving, got ready for the day, we're like, all right, let's do it. And it is just like a change of pace, I guess.
I
just
sent
like
an
a
email
shift.
last night about this essay.
I saw that. I almost responded and then I was like, it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's fine. I just was listening to a podcast and they were talking about it. And basically the email is like, do the thing. Don't talk about talking about doing the thing is not doing the thing. Thinking about doing the thing. Telling
Telling
someone
your friends,
else
yeah.
you're going to do the thing is not doing the thing. And I feel like that's the switch that happens when you're like not going, you're tired.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I got to do that.
But once you do it,
Worry about doing it. And you feel just as busy worrying about the things as you would be if you just do the things. But for some reason, like, I don't know what that is in our brain that says, like, you're busy when you're not actually accomplishing anything.
Right. It's like, you know, with our cabinetry guy, we like got an email about like one of our clients' cabinetry, and I've like I was thinking about it all yesterday and all last night, but it was just like one thing after the next yesterday that it was just, I was thinking about it and I'm like, I'm going to do it by the end of the day. And I told Aaron, I'm going to get on it. Like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Did I do it yesterday? No. How many times did I think about it?
Yeah.
Like, I woke up thinking about it this morning. That's the first thing I was doing this morning. But it was like, how many minutes did that take me to be like approved? Like go through it. And like maybe 10 minutes. Yeah. But it was just like thinking about the tasks.
There's like a weird mix because I do think that you can be more efficient by like time blocking and planning your schedule. But like by the time I go add it to my calendar, I could have just done it.
Yep.
A lot of times.
Also for me, I'm very like efficient and like very organized at like time blocking and like making sure I'm getting stuff done. But with girls and, you know, coworkers like this, if I am relaying what I'm doing, there's always going to be stuff that's building on top of that. And then we'll go a different path in a different direction and something else and do something else.
Girls.
But I don't know. I mean, I say like, I'm going to do a design block for one client. And then we end up like at a brand new client I didn't even know about by the end of the day. And I'm like, I didn't get task A through Z done.
Have you heard the analogy that women's brains are like a bowl of spaghetti where like every noodle you pulls other noodles and it's all like connected and intertwined?
Sense. Yeah.
And men's brains are like a computer that has like windows. You just like minimize. Next window, open,
That
close.
makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, so it does kind of.
It is.
One
I
thing
feel like
leads
I'm
to the
thinking about
next.
1,000,005 things all at the same time.
1,000,005. That's another phrase
I
that
knew you were
going to
say that
brought
the
to.
second it came out of my mouth.
We have 1,000,005 tile options. Well, or like 10.
Right.
Yeah, anything
But
over.
it is thinking about so many
Anything
things.
over like maybe what would you say is your threshold? It goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1,000,005. Like what's the
3.
3? Anything over 3?
It's like 1, 2, 3, 10, 100, 1,000,005.
Okay.
Actually, not even 100. I feel like
Yeah.
past 10 is 1,000,005.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 10, 1,000,005. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Vera can count to 100 right now, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16, 17, 100.
Yeah. I was about to say, I'm like, do you sit there for the
No.
entire time she's counting to 100?
I tell her, great job,
Good
baby.
job.
That is amazing.
Yes. So smart. Oh my goodness. So
But yeah,
fun.
she's learning, and she goes to a Montessori school.
Okay.
So every day she'll just come home with some other. Did you
Knowledge.
know that we live on Earth? I'm like, we do live
We
on
do.
Earth.
That is round.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's fun to
That
see
is
that.
so fun. One day, all
Man,
the babies.
it's a whole nother world.
Oh, it's a whole nother world. I can't even imagine. I mean, I can't imagine, but crazy. It's just like this is what William and I just went on a date a couple nights ago, and we were talking about it, and we were like, okay, we are very like content and happy with like where we're at, and I feel like we're very happy with like just the both of us, and we have like all the freedom in the world.
Yep.
Like I'm very content with my job right now, and we are very like, let's go to Houston this weekend. Like,
Sure.
You want to go to Florida? You want to go to the beach because it's cold? Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, that's how our mentality has always been. And I think we're very, like, we're not very worried. We just think about, like, okay, we are very much like get up and go, and we do what we want, and we,
It's that dink,
experience.
the dink life.
And we're like,
Double
okay,
income,
when
no
we have kids, are we going to be in the same mindset? Like, I never want to lose that mindset, but are we ready to put that mindset on our children of like, all right, let's get up and go? Like, are we going to be like, let's go travel anyway
I think
because we have kids?
all of that comes down to like the amount of, in terms of physics, like momentum or that there is holding you in place.
Yeah.
Right now with no kids, like you got to figure out what to do with the dog.
Oh,
and
that's
then
easy.
you can go.
Right.
Like with
Kids.
it's like I gotta figure out all this other stuff. So there's all these other reasons I wouldn't, or obstacles I have to
Right.
overcome.
And is that going to
in
hold us
order
back, or can we stick with the same mentality and we take them?
It definitely doesn't have
Yeah,
to.
right.
But it's just like more and more and more. And
Yeah.
one kid versus two kids, it just goes more.
Yep.
And so like there is nothing stopping you. Erin
Mm-hmm.
bundled up her kids, popped them in the car, and drove to Texas for your wedding. Like it is totally doable.
And if that doesn't tell you the people that we work with,
Erin, you're the best.
when she like texted me when she showed up to the hotel, she's like, I'm here, and I'm like, where are you at? I just like ran up. But like seriously, knowing that girl for a year and like knowing all my other friends, but like it's my wedding, and I'm just like thinking about you guys all weekend because it's just people, and it's like, why? There's no like explanation for it. I just don't even know how to put it into words.
I think that, so I don't think you have to lose the spontaneity, but it does make it harder to be spontaneous.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's any rush. Katie and I mean, we got married pretty young. I was 23.
Okay. 25
was
and he was
22.
27.
So we were like right out of college,
Yeah.
basically. And then I was
And you have young kids, so you guys waited a while.
30
Yeah.
when Vera was born.
Mm-hmm.
But like
Yeah.
we were living our life
Yeah.
and paying off debt and buying a house
Yeah.
and flipping a house. And
Yep.
like I don't know. There's other things to do in life besides kids.
Right.
And like I am glad we have them, but it is definitely different.
Hard. Yeah. Different. Mm-hmm.
It's
Just
a
whole different season.
Yeah, different style of
Yeah.
life, and I feel like it's going to change again when they get older. And but there's certain things that you can't do easily with kids.
Yeah.
That it's like I feel like a lot of that's a personality thing. Like, are you going to enjoy the benefits of the life you are in now, or just focus on the things that you don't have?
Right.
But that'll be true no matter what
matter-
stage of life
right.
you're in. And that's true for work, and that's true for home, and that's true for marriage. It's just true for
I feel
everything.
like Abby Voxered me, and you were talking about that with Abby, I feel like yesterday, and she's like, I just wanted to
Probably.
share this, and she was just,
Abby, sharing my thoughts.
but it was, oh freak, I just blanked.
Well,
But-
what I was talking to Abby about yesterday was like, focus on where you're going and what you want,
Yes.
not what you
Yes,
don't.
that's what she was talking about. So it's like we have been on like the tendency lately to focus on like the clients that we don't have.
Yeah.
But we are very like, okay, look at the clients we do have. Like,
Yeah.
look at all these fantastic jobs and fantastic people who have come in. And that's at where we were at last year. And look at the year that we just accomplished, So it's like, that's what she was sharing, which is just like, look at the positive. Like, look
Well,
at.
you do. There is a tendency with the human brain to like
Focusing
notice
on what
things.
you don't have.
And so you're going to notice what you focus on, good or bad.
Right.
And so if you're looking for ways that you're getting screwed or ways that you're a victim or ways that whatever, then you'll find it.
Right.
And so I think that it feels a little woo-woo and like, yeah, manifest your destiny. But I think that there is a reality of like, there's a lot going on around us all the time, good and bad. And you can only take in so much information.
Right.
And so you're going to take in information that you're looking for. If I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I have a good feeling, something good is going to happen today.
You're so focused and
Then I'll
finding that
find
good
it.
thing. Yes.
Yeah. And if I wake up going like, I'm anxious, something is bad is coming. I just know it.
And you're going to pick out every little bad thing that
Yeah.
happened
And like
in your day.
every email I get, I'm like, oh, here it comes. You know, it's like, what a miserable way to live.
Collected living, one email. Yeah. Like, haven't even opened it.
Here it comes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it just changes the way you
View life
Yeah,
and
and
perspective.
experience life.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's really like you're going to make it happen because you're thinking about it. But I think you may notice it or you may miss it because you weren't.
If you were to get a tattoo, what would you get?
Oh, I don't know that I ever would because I just don't tend to like things long enough.
I don't either. I would never get a tattoo, but if I had to get a tattoo, if you forced me to get a tattoo, my word would be perspective.
Oh, okay.
And it would be very small. Very small because I don't want to get a tattoo.
Not like not like under the
or
eye.
like a whole wrap.
Post
No,
Malone.
no. But it would be perspective. That's what I was asking you.
I had a TA in college in calculus, and he had pi, like 3.1415.
Yeah.
The constant
Like the
tattooed in bands around his arm to like 400 digits,
literally
like numbers,
the whole number
in circles.
around.
And then the other arm was E, which is another constant, 2.718
Is he a
something.
nerd?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like to
So
the
that's
nth
what he does after he
degree.
goes to a party. Yeah.
Like he was the epitome of, I mean, you're a graduate level math student. Like chances are not good that you're like a cool
Social
dude.
and fun. And, yeah.
No offense to math people. I love math, but
You know.
you're getting a master's in math.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
I will judge you. I have judged you. Sorry. But yeah,
It's all about being real.
He, loved math enough to get tattoos about math. I could see like if I had some sort of traumatic experience, lost a loved one, had some crazy thing happen, that I felt like changed me in a meaningful way that I don't want to like forget what I came through or something like.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some people like will lose like their spouse at a young age, or they'll lose like a sibling or something, and they'll get like a tattoo, or maybe a parent dies when they're young, so they'll get a tattoo. I could see that. We had a good friend of ours lost her husband, and she got like his it was like the EKG, like his heartbeat.
Oh, Lotus. Make me sabe on a podcast.
But that's cool.
Yeah.
It's like a cool way to remember.
I've seen people who like they take like a card that like their mom or somebody wrote, and it says like "Love you, mom," and they'll like put that on. Yeah.
I could see something like that, but there's a lot.
Could
of
never
things I
see
would not
like
do.
butterflies and a rainbow and volcano and whatever else people do, and skeletons.
I don't think there's any like art
Yeah.
that I would get.
No, me
it would
neither.
have to be like something tied to
Very
a memory.
meaningful that I was like stuck on for years.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it
also
could
like,
never be an impulse
I
thing
think
for
it
me.
just hurts pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm not about that.
So like,
Yeah, which is
if I can avoid that,
Yep.
I will avoid that.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably not. Probably
neither.
not a tattoo in my future.
We were talking about the girls and I like went to lunch, breakfast, dinner, one of those the other day. And we were like, okay, who has a tattoo and what, and like, would anybody be open to getting a CL in white during market?
Okay.
And I was like, wow. I understand the meaning behind it, but it's just like,
there was a guy at the last place I worked that got a tattoo of the company logo because he was like one of the founders, and then he got fired.
But like, exactly. It's like, I'm going to be 60 and hopefully I'm still working for Collective Living, but it's like, okay, we're just going to have CL. Like, what if our logo changed? Yeah. But Abby's like, woo, I'm down.
Course.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime I'll tell Katie about something that happened at work, and she's like, well, what did the girls say? The girls meaning Abby and Lori. And I'm like, well, Abby just agrees with whatever anyone says.
She hypes you up no matter what.
She's a cheerleader.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to me and Lori. Because Abby finds the positive, which I'm very thankful for.
All three of you are so different, but so like, it couldn't work better. Does that make sense? Like, you guys are all like completely different personalities.
We are very different.
Like, pretty opposites.
But thank goodness, because I can't imagine doing it.
Three of you?
Without,
no.
Without
like
other
three
people.
of you? No. Yeah.
It would be a miserable place to work if I was in charge, solely in charge. But you get people to balance you out. And I feel like that's marriage, that's friendships, that's everything in life, is finding that balance. Because everybody has strengths, everybody has weaknesses. But that's a really, like, I think we think about that with employees too, but that's really hard to just like get in an interview.
Yeah.
What's gonna be?
It's almost like the next girl needs to go to lunch with all of us and see if she can like hang.
Just hang.
You know?
I keep talking about this last place I worked, but it was like, hey, you're gonna work here for 90 days, and then we're gonna see if it's like working.
Ooh, like you're kind of on a contract.
Like a 90-day interview.
Yeah.
Basically, is what it was.
That's stressful. That's so stressful.
It was stressful, but like looking at it purely from like their perspective, it's great for them.
Right.
Because at 90 days, like,
would you ever do that? Like, you have 30
I think I
days.
would feel too bad.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. But at the same time, like, I don't want our like, any of the relationships that we're just like so perfect right now. Like, the relationships are so, it's not perfect, but it's like everybody works together.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
you don't
so
want
not like a business shark.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
Yeah.
And so like if it comes to like, but I don't think they would like that, I'm just like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it. Okay. So I'm kind of a sucker.
Yeah.
If it comes to like people liking their job, I'll just choose that over most anything else.
Yeah.
Until it causes like issues.
Yeah.
And then we can address it.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I feel like nobody would want that.
Yeah. It's just like the dynamic.
But yeah, at some point I have to value like the culture internally more than like the new employee. Right. And so I could see myself being talked into it.
Yeah. It's almost like hiring people just for like them as a person, and everything else can be taught and learned and guided.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking. Yeah, you hire the right person and then figure out what they're...
Can't change their personality.
Yeah. It's nerve-wracking when somebody starts, because even when they start, even 30 days, you get a pretty good idea of who they are, but like they're not fully themselves.
Right. Until like a year later.
Yeah, and I think even then, like, it takes going through some like, oh, I screwed that up, and seeing how people respond,
how you react.
To know if you can be yourself or not. And so I feel like we have learned over the years, like, we have to kind of like approach people and say like, you good? Because it seems like, and people, I think, naturally will just be like more
open.
Yeah, if you're that way, and if you're not, they'll just kind of keep
closed off,
and be silently like, that wasn't great, because that's the work world. You don't like complain, and so that doesn't always lead to like the happiest outcomes,
right?
For sure. Okay, so the billboard question. If you had a billboard,
oh lordy,
for the whole world to see, doesn't have to be Collected Living. Everybody's giving collected living answers.
No, I think it would be based off of like, I keep saying perspective, but it's like
Well, that is your tattoo, so.
Yeah, well, I think it's just more of like the outlook on life. Like everybody needs to have a better outlook on life and not be so focused on getting through the day-to-day tasks, but like go out there and experience and meet people, and like it's so much more than getting up, brushing your teeth, going to work, coming home for dinner, going to bed. Like you can make so much more out of it than I'm starting to be an Abby. With so many words. But okay, perspective. Get out there.
Get out there.
With the mountains.
Yeah. Perspective.
But you know what I'm getting at. It would take a lot of thinking of like the perfect billboard to show that. But yeah. It wouldn't be collected living. Love you guys, but it wouldn't be collected living.
Something to the effect of there's more to life.
Don't be complacent.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's good.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else for the fans?
That's it. Subscribe, please.
Like and subscribe.
Hey, maybe this one will go viral. Who knows?
Yeah,
somebody's going to go viral.
At some day. We do this enough.
Yeah.
At some point,
gonna go viral.
somebody's going to go.
Yep.
We need to get Sam the cook or whatever his
Sam
name
the cooking
is.
guy.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll reach out to him on YouTube. Be like, listen, we just started a
got
podcast.
this thing going.
You're going to be our first guest.
Okay. Camryn,
Okay.
thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Let's
Okay.
go to our meeting.
Okay, sounds good. Goodbye, folks.
Bye.